join an organization that's uplifting our people or helping our people, serving our people some kind of way. You know what I'm saying? Not tearing down our people and anything like that. Don't get involved with nothing like that. Does not help. That's not going to help our people. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to be with any. If it ain't doing nothing for Black people, don't get with it. You know what I'm saying? If they ain't talking about the only politics that's relevant today is the politics of revolution.
We grew up in the hood like most Black folks. Little did they know it comes gorillas from the South Coast, breaking the booze out, living and working in many pieces. Black rain for not five, explosion posse going to sit with this revolutionary tactic. Them flips up out of my mattress. I practice pro-blackness, not to say I'm prejudiced when spinning darkness. No, I'm not suicidal, but I'm dying for my people. No, I'm not authentic, yet I distinguish good from people. I used to wear long crowns, align my mind to burn from ignorance. I cut away my perm, I got strong, some can't deal with this mentality. Thinking I'm weak, I'm not no gangster. It won't be televised how many times my posse pull the trigger. Lord, oh Lord, am I the devil too, or am I really the son? To the throne, son, the flock is true image of you, a portrait that I could not never see. Dumb as I may be, I never go, I kamikaze G, genocide.
Oh, once again, this is the Panther 48. I'm Brother Sight calling out of Texas. I have Brother War calling out of San Diego, California.
All power to the people, family.
I have Brother E calling out of Florida.
Yes, sir. What's going on, Black folk?
And we have a special guest today. We have Brother Kamau Osiris.
Black Power, brothers. How y'all doing?
All power to the people. We'll continue with what we've been doing is we have been interviewing grassroots and day one activists and revolutionaries in order to get a deeper understanding of revolutionary ideology and Panther history. Today, we're going to interview Brother Kamau, and we're going to start with Brother Robert Wall Williams.
Well, let's just kind of jump right on into this, Brother Comrade Kamau. Just tell us a little bit about your background and who you are.
Well, I became a member of the Black Panther militia out of Milwaukee. That's where the headquarters were under the commander of Michael McGee. And we had formed a chapter here in Indianapolis. And we pretty much did work in the community. We did, we had boycotted the Korean store at one time. That kind of divided everyone. But it was something that the commander of our chapter felt needed to be done, and the reason why is because he felt that the stores in the community should be putting money back into the community if they're in our community. And of course, this is one of the problems that we still have today, the exploitation and everything. So, and then after that, I was with them for about over 2 years, and I ended up leaving the chapter because of some internal struggles inside there. And so there was another group that had formed here in Indianapolis, and it was called the New Black Panther Party. And of course, I didn't even know you guys existed at that time in Dallas. And but we had a meeting when I got with them, and how I ended up getting with them was through another comrade that was in the New Black Panther Party. I'd seen him. He had been in the militia, and he told me, "Did you know we have a New Black Panther Party chapter?" I said, "No." So I started going to their meetings, and and I was the one who brought up the question of or suggestion that maybe would it be good if we went national, And the guy who was in charge of the new Black Panther Party here locally, he didn't feel that we should, and he ended up leaving. So the rest of the members, we all just pretty much worked as a collective. And one of the members that got in touch with Aaron Michaels, he had found out about the chapter in Dallas. So he had gave me Aaron Michaels' number, and I ended up calling Aaron, and that's pretty much how I got started. Me and Aaron worked close together. He came up here, members of y'all's organization, it came up here and helped me establish a chapter here in Indianapolis. And that, you know, that was a wonderful feeling, because it just lets me know that I'm not the only one, or we're not the only ones here locally that are, you know, in the struggle for our people, you know. And it's just good to have other people, you know, that feel the same way we do about liberation and things. So, and me and Aaron worked real close together, and it was, they came up here, and I had a meeting here at the Christian Moore Center, and they made it clear that the militia was pretty much, it had defunct, but you know, with them coming here, they pretty much made it clear and certified that we are a national chapter, with your chapter coming here and supporting me, or us in our chapter here locally. And you know, so that's pretty much how things just took off from there, you know.
Let's back up a little bit and tell us a little bit about your involvement with the Black Panther militias. What do you recall? What year you started working with them, as well as what year you stopped working with them?
Yeah, what it was, some people from Indianapolis had went up to Milwaukee that I know, and they met with Michael McGee. And when they came back down here, they gave us, the people at the meetings, they were saying, if we want to form, we're going to form a Black Panther militia here. And but what we had to do was go out and get from McGee's orders, or the Milwaukee chapter, in order to form a chapter of a militia. They said we had to go out and get 5,000 signatures from the community, so that the people would, you know, receive us and welcome us, and you know, get their approval, pretty much is what we was wanting, instead of just being here, you know, because we wanted the support of the people. So me and other people pretty much went out and got signatures from the people, and a lot of them were pretty much they were willing. They wanted a chapter here, and they were willing to sign the petition, you know, for the militia. And so after we got enough signatures, Michael McGee had came here to Indianapolis, and I was doing security too at that time for him and the people coming here from Milwaukee. And he pretty much, we had a meeting, a public meeting, and he made it clear that now we have a Black Panther militia here in Indianapolis chapter. So, and that's how we ended up getting started as a militia here. We pretty much, the work here that was done after the signatures, we did the boycott of the Koreans, and pretty much a lot of other work we were doing. We were just pretty much handling local issues, you know, with the crime going on in the community, and working with different other organizations as well, and things like that.
So talk a little bit about the gang activity in Indianapolis. What was it like at that point in time? How did that influence or work into you being active with the militia?
Oh, for y'all go with that, let me add one quick question. I'm just trying to clarify something for myself. Mike McGee, was that the brother that was on Jerry
Yes,
Springer back in the day, punched the white guy for disrespecting the sister? Okay.
Yes, yeah.
I thought that was him. When I keep hearing the name Mike McGee, and that keep coming out. My bad. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. But well, as far as the gang activity, you know, there, as far as here, I really wasn't informed too much about the gang activity. I know I heard a lot of negative things, which, you know, wasn't good. But personally, I ended up working with some members, some gang members here, who did some positive work here with us here in the community. They did help me do security for the militia and everything, for Mike McGee and for Brother Ajabu when we had meetings here. And they supported me very much. And I learned a lot from them too. And they were actually from the, they had been in the Nation of Islam, you know, from what they had told me. And they had a lot of, you know, information, a lot of knowledge too. So, so I really embraced them brothers, you know. And they pretty much, you know, explained to me a lot about the gangs, and I had a better understanding of the gangs, and you know, so now them brothers, they were some real good brothers who were actually in a gang, and we did work close together.
Okay, so when was it that you first met Aaron Michaels? I know you touched on it a little bit, but when did you first meet him, and what was the circumstances that brought that around?
I first met Aaron back, it was like during the fall. I would have to say, I think it was around either 93 or 94, somewhere around then. I'm just going by memory, but, and I talked to him on the phone. We had talked on the phone a lot, you know, and I just pretty much let him know what was happening here locally, because we still had issues with some of the members here in Indianapolis, you know, was having issues with us going national, and having another chapter come here, and they felt that, well, we ain't trying to, they, you know, they just felt like we don't want to be up under someone else's leadership. And I mean, I understand it. And I said, well, you know, we'll always, you know, function at our own autonomy, you know, long as, you know, but we'll still have to stick with the rules and regulations. And we got a platform, you know, and follow that, you know, of the, you know, so as long as we do that, I understand, you know, but still there's nothing wrong with, I felt personally that there's nothing wrong with us being national. So they, you know, supported the idea of me talking to Brother Aaron Michaels, and I just pretty much let him know that me and Aaron had talked, and we pretty much picked a day that he would come and up here and, you know, help us establish a national chapter here in Indianapolis. And we would work together with the chapter in Dallas. forming other chapters. Me and Aaron Michaels, and our organization in the chapter in Dallas did work together, close together in forming not only this chapter, but other chapters nationally, because we really, we really took off, as y'all know. We got the new Black Panther Party has chapters everywhere, but working close with Aaron, that I loved it, and it really helped me a lot, and I learned a lot too, in the work that I was doing, and being informed by him and coming down to Dallas and meeting y'all, more people in your organization as well, and working with y'all. I remember going to Aaron's job with him, and we actually did a demonstration there at his job, and I remember going to Houston, with y'all, and that really meant a lot to me, serving the people and forming other chapters and things. So
two questions I want to get back on. One thing I do want to ask, because you did reference the whole idea of local autonomy and how that might, how skeptical some people were within the chapter in regards to dealing with that. And I think that's important, because oftentimes what folks, a lot of the younger people that are coming into this recognition about the Panther, the Panther formations in general, are not aware of even the idea of a local autonomy, because those are some of the founding, principles in regards to how the new Black Panther Party started out, as well as other formations back in the early 90s were operating from. But you don't hear much people actually teach upon that now. Can you just elaborate a little bit about how local autonomy worked for y'all?
Well, it worked for us because we know what's going on in Indianapolis, and what I'm saying, and we know how to deal with the issues in Indianapolis, because by working with other groups who know us, see, and so therefore, we've already been working here already as leaders in the community, right, and functioning. It's just that we have a Black Panther chapter here that's working with the local organizations, and we are more, know each other more and understand each other more, and knowing what to do and getting things done, working in unity. Because how can someone from California or Texas or wherever, Chicago, New York, how you just gonna come to Indianapolis and tell us what to do, when you don't even know nobody here?
Right.
So, I mean, it makes no sense. So yes, this is why, this is the point they was making to me, and I understood everyone in the chapter, and I made it clear we will always work at our own autonomy, no matter what, and it will be as a collective, because following one person we know can lead to dictatorship. No, and not to say none of our leaders were bad that's been in the struggle. I'm not saying that either, but we know what kind of enemy we're up against. So we know that, we understand it. To be centralized makes it easier for the enemy to, break down your organization and your structure. But when you're not actually centralized, they don't know who's in charge. Like if just one person's in charge, then they know who to focus on. You know what I mean? And a lot of times when we were moving that, I noticed when the media would come up to Jabu and ask him questions while we was around, they always say, well, who's in charge? He said, I'm in charge, so they know who's in charge. But see, when you keep the enemy guessing and causing confusion, then he don't know who to come at. You know what I mean? Because they don't know who's in charge. And you know what I'm saying? So the main thing is not the less information they have, the less they can do. All they see is just people there around Jabu and or whoever the person is. They just see someone speaking, but is that person that's in charge really because he's speaking? No, he's just a spokesman. And then next day or whoever, you might have someone else speaking or whoever. But just because someone's speaking, we know that doesn't necessarily mean they're in charge, but although it might look like it as well. And then again, like I said, the media would, I notice again, they always came up with the questions, who's in charge? So that's why I feel it's very important that it's that we all function at our own autonomy. I see it one, yes, sir.
And I just think it's important that the listening audience just hear that, because again, too often that aspect of structure has escaped the ideology that's being portrayed across, you know, the Black Panther formations. And one of the things I do want to hit on it, and I turn it back over to you, brother, is the fact that you're responsible for what goes on in your community, in your city. So if we hold ourselves accountable for the actions in our city, then we will be inclined to move toward having that autonomy to where basically we are accountable for what goes on in our city. And you don't want to lose that no matter who you operate from a regional or national perspective. The bottom line is you're responsible for what goes on in your territory, in your area. So you can't forget that, and you cannot attempt to shift the blame on anyone outside of your chapter, regardless of what formation you're operating from. That whole aspect of local autonomy was basically to help hold us accountable for what needs to be being taken care of in our own city. And that's the thing that needs to, you know, really hit home with people. So I appreciate that. Real quick, brother, what other formations and Panther formations or affiliates did y'all with in the early 90s as well?
I pretty much did work with the new Vanguard movement, Black Panther Vanguard movement, with under brother Kwaku Durham, and I'm know y'all familiar with him. The Dallas chapter was back then, and because I met them at a summit. I came down there to Dallas that time, and we had a summit, and we all had met together, and we had met also in Houston, yeah, and so I got to know them as well when I was in the new Black Panther Party, working with them, and also working with Sister Akua out of Chicago on the Free Fred Hampton campaign. I worked with her for a few years. I took her back and forth to the prison to see Fred Hampton Jr. I also worked with her organization, which was the Haruru movement and her people, and the African People's Socialist Party, Brother Amali Yasateli. I'm not sure if y'all familiar with them or not, but they're out of Florida. And we did a lot of work up there. We had a lot of speaking engagements, but also we did some demonstrations. Me and Akua did demonstrations down at the marches down at the Daily Tower in Chicago, and other events that they had there at the Haruru House with brothers and sisters who were there who lived in Chicago, who came there, working with them. I also worked in COBRA, the National Coalition for Reparations in America. I worked close with them and their leadership as well. I did a lot of security for them. When they had conferences here in Indianapolis, when they all would come here, I was the one who actually picked a lot of them up and took them to where they would be staying, different people's comrades' house where they were staying at while they were here. And I did a lot of work like that with them and just getting to know them more about the reparations movement. And I also traveled to a lot of their conferences on the East Coast at that time, Hampton, Virginia. I met brothers like Anthony Browder, Tony Browder. I did a tour of DC with, on that, and he just pretty much, of course, he's a scholar, and he just broke down the Benjamin Banneker and the design of Washington, D.C., and the alignments of it, and the significance of how it, looks like Kemet today, how it's designed. So that was pretty interesting. And meeting other members in Cobra. So working with them in coalition with also Brother Billy X with It's About Time. I worked with him as well. I was doing all this at the same time, actually, while I was in the new Black Panther Party, and also working here locally as well. So that and unity in the community barbecues, yeah, we did that, and we gave out groceries and things like that, and served the community.
All right, I'm gonna pass over to Brother E. Let him jump in.
Let me jump in. And you kind of started touching on it a little bit. I know for me, a lot of times when I think back to, reminisce or tell somebody the things that were going on, it seems like it's kind of surreal. Like I'm remembering a movie. Like that would not that I want to detach myself from it, say, oh, that wasn't me, but like that was another life. That was another section or chapter or whatever. When I look back on some of the programs that we were doing, that was going on. So I'm wondering what, and like I said, you kind of touched on it a little bit, but I'd like to know more about, you said you were feeding the community, things like that, some of the programs that your MBPP chapter had going on at the time. If you could tell me, because I know we had our roster that we were trying to do, and then other chapters may have concentrated mostly on, protests, or some may have had a school or whatever it was. But yeah, I'd like to hear a little bit more about what types of programs, operations, and that sort of thing that you all had going on back in the day.
Oh, okay. Well, locally here, the programs we had, we pretty much with what we would do with the unity in the community barbecue, we just pretty much, of course, I would get with other members of like in Cobra, who was working here locally and things like that, and the members here as well. And we would just pretty much just get some grills together, and just start fixing food. A lot of the sisters that was in the Black Panther Party here locally would fix food and things. And we would just pretty much, once we put the word out that this is what we'll be doing, a lot of people just came out, to hear us speak and to get the food as well. And of course, that's what it was. Doing that and also working with other issues that was going on with the police as well, with the, it's a lot of stuff happening with the shootings here and things like that. We just, as far as issues like that, we would had members that would be there at the downtown at the meetings and pretty much addressing the police violence here as well. We pretty much did the unity in the community barbecue. We had it going for at least every month basis, you know, with that. And pretty much that's pretty much all. We didn't have operation where the operation pretty much expanded once I was able to work with the National Black Panther Vanguard with the SAFE programs. Okay, we kind of started patterning off of them, the SAFE program, looking out for elders and people in the community, like, you know, lady walking, needing protection going back and forth to the bus stop or something like that. We did work like that as well. We also worked with the schools too, some of the local schools here and things with the children, addressing the issue. One of our members was addressing the Ritalin issue, you know, with them giving children Ritalin. So sister wanted, some of the members had issues with that because they felt that that definitely was detrimental for, you know, for the schools to be given to our children. So we campaigned against that as well.
So, and again, you kind of hit on some of it already, but, and I'm guessing it was never an issue with the barbecues and things as far as the community embracing it. You know, I without even being revolutionary minded, I already know you give out some barbecue, we gonna come and get some barbecue, whatever. But generally speaking, that as a part of it, but including, you know, holistically everything else you were doing, if you had to give it like a overall feeling as far as your experience with the community embracing, you know, not just this program, well, that too, this program mainly versus that program, but all in all, what kind of vibe did you get, or what kind of memory you have of back in the day? And back in the day for us, I guess, is the 90s or so, as far as the community embracing your chapter, the people, what was going on, the programs themselves, that sort of thing. What, you know, was the community embracing most everything? Was it kind of hit or miss? Of course, barbecues we know was always a hit, but, you know, just along those lines.
Yeah, they embraced us. They liked the work we were doing, and actually, we really what really got the community's attention, and where we were really received at was in the community, in the Black community down on the east side. The police was running this operation where they were stopping these guys that were out there on the street and beating them up in the neighborhood and things like that, just bullying them. And what happened was the police ended up starting a riot, but actually it turned into a rebellion. And it was the new Black Panther Party that went and, I mean, confronting the whole police department, you know what I'm saying, for the community. And well, with the community with them, of course. And they stood toe to toe, and they even engaged with them and fighting and everything. They actually went up against the Indianapolis Police Department. And this lasted, this rebellion lasted for about a week, okay? And the people, and I mean, the police even came with tanks at one time, see? So during that time, so, and the new Black Panther Party went toe to toe and stood down the police here in Indianapolis locally. that happened. And we was commended by that, by other organizations and even by the community itself. So that's when we was really embraced by the community.
Nice.
That happened.
Very
Yes,
nice.
yes, sir.
Yeah, I was going to ask for some of the pivotal moments, but you can't get much more pivotal than that. I mean, I'm sitting here really, really pissed off because I didn't get to go. That would have just been, just
Okay.
epic. You know, I would have loved that. That would have been a perfect, for me, that would have been a perfect death. I'd have gone there, let's go. It's out. Let's
Yes.
just stand it up. Boom, ready. Yeah, that
Oh,
sounds
yes,
epic, epically beautiful, man.
yes, sir.
Appreciate
Yes, sir.
that.
Thank you, sir.
And I guess, yeah, that being obviously, like I said, a hugely pivotal moment, you know, whether you say it or not, I'm calling it. That was a pivotal moment in your life. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yes, sir. Mhm.
That was major. And along those same lines, I'm wanting to know, and I don't, you know, I'm like you, you know, with the autonomy and all, not being character driven, or what is it called? Cult of personality type of thing, you know, whether it's Trump or Farrakhan or Malcolm or whoever it is, being that cult of personality. And kind of along those lines, I'm wondering, pivotal, because it was pivotal when I met the brother, but I'm wondering about your initial experience with Brother Khalid, with Khalid Muhammad. If you could, you know, that big grin. Okay, yeah. So you had some similar moments with him as well, I guess, or something. Anyway, it touched off. So yeah, tell me what you're grinning about, bro.
Yeah,
Brother.
well, I mean, that's a good question, and Brother Khalid was a great man. Let me say that first of all, a great man, and I loved and respected him very much. During the time when I was actually talking to Aaron at the time, and he pretty much let me know that Khalid Muhammad was wanting to join the Black Panther Party. And, you know, at the time, I didn't know a whole lot about Khalid personally. You know, I've seen him on TV and I heard about a lot of his work and everything. But I pretty much, talked to Brother Aaron about it, and I seen him how, he had aligned himself with the chapter in Dallas, and like the incident that happened down in Jasper and things like that, and other forms that you all did together and work. But I felt that, for the fact that Aaron Michaels in the Dallas chapter felt that they wanted Khalid to be a representative of the Black Panthers. And at the time, I had no problem with it because I've always, supported the Dallas chapter, and I definitely support Brother Aaron Michaels. So, and if Khalid felt that he wanted to be a Panther, and if the Dallas chapter felt that they want to make Khalid a Panther, I was all for it. And so Brother Aaron had me, he wanted me to come down to the summit, and I flew down to Dallas. And we pretty much voted Khalid in. I was feeling kind of scant at the time because, well, I knew he carried a lot of luggage,
Yeah. All right.
You know what I'm saying? So, and we know what that is. So, but I, and I talked to Aaron, and Aaron felt that, yeah, this is pretty much what we want to do at the time, so I support it. Now at the meeting at the summit, I do remember also letting Khalid know that, that we'll run at our own autonomy. because see, he knew a brother here. I won't say his name, but he knew a brother real well. And this brother contacted me. The brother was kind of letting me know that he's hooking, he knew about Khaled coming into the Panthers. And so apparently him and Khaled had talked, and they had some kind of, maybe some idea that he might be back, you know, in charge maybe, or, you know, Khaled might want to put him in charge. And I let Aaron know. I talked to Aaron on the phone, and Aaron understood, because me and Aaron already talked about it. We running at our own autonomy. And the Dallas is too, in all chapters. He felt the same way. So I said, so I knew that had happened, that they had talked. So when I got there at the meeting in the summit there at Dallas, I just went in and voted yes, you know, him into the chapter. But I said, but now the chapters will run at their own autonomy. Just so he understood that, you know, whatever you do is what you do, but whatever we do in Indianapolis, we do, you know.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with you or anyone else.
Yeah. And
So
I was kind of in, if I recall correctly, or correct me, because, you know, a lot of that's foggy for me. Again, that was another lifetime ago, but I know within Dallas, some of us had conversations about Khaled coming in. Much as we love the brother, there was still this idea, and this was before in 9/11 and all of those things went down, but this idea of essentially this organization who's a threat just by the appearance, dressed in all black, that's a threat for them visually, unite and carrying guns. Uniting that with someone who had been condemned by the I think it was the House of Representatives, officially censured Khaled for quote unquote hate speech. So you got a cat who's known or thought to be known to be calling on, you know, moving on the man, so to speak, and calling out the government and being loud and boisterous about it, and essentially putting guns with it. You take this image of Islam and the Quran and all the things that went along with it, put guns with it, you have a totally different dynamic that's going on. That's going to get you some extra hot water just off the top without any extra having gone on. And I know that over time, it developed into something of a rift between, I mean, one of the rifts, probably, I guess, the rift, most noteworthy rift, people lining up on various sides, even after, you know, Khaled passed on, this rift amongst membership, pro-Khaled side, the, I guess, regular Panther side, coming to a head, and it was kind of sort of secular versus religious. There was that, no doubt. But I'm wondering, and I think we've all done it, we've all had to do it, comparing that sort of rift and divide with movements in the past that have had similar, or maybe not so similar, but seemingly similar, whatever, rifts and divides, whether it's Elijah and Malcolm rifting and dividing, or it was the Black Panther Party, the so-called original, Hugh and the boys back in the day, with the rifts that split within the party at that time. Do you see similarities, parallels, reflective of, and I'm gonna call them Huey and them back then, and when compared to Aaron and the boys? Is there any parallels between the two that you see?
Yes, I do. And what you said, actually, you know, during that time, what you were saying just now, I was actually channeling that during the time when Kyler was wanting to come in. And like I said, I just kind of, like I said, I was feeling scant about it just for the fact that, yeah, him, as far as what happened with him being in the nation and all this and the attention that he had drawn, and then him coming in to the, just wanting to come into the Black Panther. I felt personally, I never said anything, but personally, I felt it was too soon. Things was just happening too quick back then. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There was just so much going on, with Khaled, and then him, like I said, them carrying guns, that's a whole different thing there. You know what I'm saying? And so, and the attention that would be drawn now, Khaled being a Panther, all of a sudden, and it's just like overnight, he's not in the nation. How would the Nation of Islam feel about it? You know what I'm saying? How would other people feel about it? You know what I'm saying? Would the enemy take advantage of this? Would that give them idea? All that was going through my mind. I was channeling that when all this was going down. But again, the brothers there in Dallas, they was the ones with him. They were the ones around him. So
you put the Dallas chapter. That's what I'm getting out of this. It is our fault. We messed up. It's okay.
No, actually, I won't say it was y'all's fault, because at the time, y'all felt it was a good deed. You know what I'm saying? It was for the people. And that's how y'all seen it, and I seen it the same way. You know what I'm saying? I said, yeah, Khaled being it, that would, that would be a real good thing, as far as the support and all. But I just kind of seen other things that might happen. I was looking at what could happen, what's possible. And unfortunately, I was right. My thoughts were, but I never said anything, because again, I love Brother Aaron and I love the brothers in Dallas. So, hey, you know what I mean? I felt that actually it would all work itself out. And of course, it did from what I heard, in a bad way. Unfortunately, Brother Khaled ended up dying. And, now that, that was a tragedy.
Yeah.
And I was real hurt. See, this was the and see, we have to look back at this. Now, what led to that, was, what I'm saying? I mean, what I'm saying? It's just a lot of unanswered questions out here.
And I agree. And I think that's how did Khaled pass conspiracy theory show, that has to be done at some point. At some point, those conversations have to be had, and that real, honest, hurtful truth or truth or somebody's opinion, whatever it is, has to be put on the table. Just like with Malcolm, at some point you have to ask those questions just so you can let them go. Otherwise, they stay in your head.
Yes.
And like you said, it's real unfortunate because Khaled passed, and we didn't really get to build on what Khaled was bringing. You know what I'm saying? It was like it started, like you were saying, it was a big move for us. We could but we never really got to play all of that out because of the rifts and everything else that went on. And I'm wondering, because I know it had an effect on me, and my morale, and part of the who y'all right on. I've never been that kind of cat that just. It's hard for me to say Black Power because everybody says it, and so many people aren't on the same page as what that means. It's cliche. It's just something to say. So at that time, everybody piling in and being, yeah. It's like, wait. So it always kind of sat uneasy with me, but especially at the time. And so I'm wondering, with what you said, was that a contributing factor to you no longer operating under the NBPP, or was it not? Were there other things that were more weighty that kind of pulled you away, or how much of a role did that play in you having to at some point move away from the party?
Well, yeah, it really hurt me more.
Yeah.
I'll say that. I've heard some things about what happened. The sources was pretty credible. I don't know. I don't want to have to. I don't know. I don't want to say too much here.
Right.
But
right.
I don't like what I heard, and it was preventable. What happened to Colin was preventable.
Yeah.
So I'll say that. And
let me ask this. You don't want to say too much. You don't have to say where you heard it from or who you heard it about. But can you say what you heard or what you thought happened to Dr. Khalid?
Well, I don't want to put nobody's name out there. Of course, a lot of us heard different things. But what I heard, I'll just say this. It was some credible sources that came from his leadership and command, that people that was around him that I knew, it had filtered down to someone else that I knew real well. And this brother actually put it all out in a conference. And the people he named that told him this information was a person that I knew. I'll just say that.
Mm.
So, and again, it was a tragedy. It was preventable, and the government's wicked, bro. They wicked.
No doubt. No doubt.
So, and to answer your question about the split with the original Panthers and with Brother Aaron Michaels and the new Black Panther Party with the West Coast, East Coast, I kind of seen that happening because, see, when Khalid came in, I seen he had his people with him. See, You know what I'm saying? So, they're gonna always be loyal to Khalid, regardless. See, and all, there's always gonna be some type of confusion, or not everyone's gonna agree on the same thing in any organization. See? So you're always gonna have certain type of complications, disagreements, and people set tripping, and then there's gonna be issues in any organization. So I was looking down further in the future, like, what if there's issues, I mean, what could happen? I was looking at all that. What could end up happening if Khalid comes in? That's what I was looking at. See. And I was very concerned too about the chapter there in Dallas, because I was just hoping everything would work out, but unfortunately, Colin ended up passing away. And so that kind of, I started looking another direction with that. And plus Brother Malik Ishmael and Brother Boko actually steered me away, because I was actually at the time as well, I wanted to be attached to the community and just doing the programs,
Right.
Because that's actually what the Black Panthers was all about, serving the people.
Right.
And I mean, we had the newspaper and all that, and we was working internationally, see, as a coalition with all the other Panther organizations. So we pretty much made it happen. We ended up becoming national. We worked national with other Black Panther chapters, and and I'll say this, I met a lot of real good brothers too, and sisters. So, so I just wanted, I just wanted to be more attached to the programs. That's how I felt. And and I didn't even know that that there wasn't a Dallas, that Aaron Michaels wasn't even in the chapter no more. I didn't even know that. And I didn't know that the Dallas chapter ended up, falling apart after that either. I never, because what had happened was I had lost contact with everyone, because that was back when we started carrying cell phones. And it was so too hard for me to keep up with my cell phone. And I had lost a couple of them. And I had everybody's numbers and everything. So that's how I ended up losing contact with a lot of people. And I was fortunate to find out or get in contact with Brother Robert through another comrade of mine, Malik Ishmael. And so I've been talking to him for a couple of weeks, and I've talked to Brother Aaron Michaels as well. So, and it's good to be linked back up with y'all brothers, brother. Hey, Shay, you know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna need you to do me a favor and either write the phone numbers down on some old school, old style, old fashioned pencil and paper type of thing, save them to the cloud, something like that. We can't be going through this every 20 years or so. You ain't got that much time left on the earth, you know what I'm saying? So
yes, sir.
Let's do a little different this time. All y'all. War's the sociable one. I'm not the social cat, so you don't have to worry about me, but y'all keep each other's numbers and all of that. But I feel you on the college rift and the rift and all of that being a contributing factor, but ultimately I know there were those of us within the chapter, again, whose morale got beat up because there was a desire to put more, like you said, an emphasis on the programs for the community, doing work in the community and focusing on that and brushing a shot. I don't even want to deal with all of that drama y'all got. I don't care who shot who.
Right.
I don't care. I want to do the work, do something in the community, get out there and make something happen. So I'm wondering, you kind of hear it in your voice, maybe you itching to tell us or whatnot, but I'm gonna give you an opportunity. What types of things are you involved in with as far as working in the community, like currently, any programs that you're involved in, organizations that you're working with, that sort of thing? What you got going on right now, I guess?
Well, right now I got a historical From Old Guard to Vanguard photo exhibit. And it's an exhibit I have, and actually it has 34 pictures and some newspaper articles of newspapers that we did, and in the exhibit. And it's of the era of the programs we did and the programs of the Panthers that the Panthers did in the 60s, 70s, and even in the 90s. And some of the members too of the Los Angeles chapter, the original members, and the members of the 70s, and Brother Boko, Brother Kwaku, and Brother Sharif, and the members of the 90s. And it pretty much talks about the history of the Los Angeles chapter of the Black Panther Party, and the three generations up to our generation, which is the third generation. And also, I've been working with Brother Malik he's got a book out too, 2 books out now from Old Guard to Vanguard, where he talks about our era, the same thing as what we've been talking about just now. He talks about all that in the book, From Old Guard to Vanguard, second generation Black Panther. And he's also got another one out that just came out about that book. And also, I also been working with brother Billy Jennings of the It's About Time, the Panther alumni. Okay. And I've been working with him for years, and I still work with him in the original Black Panthers alumni committee. I work with them as well nationally, and also we have a radio show that I'm a co-founder of. It's a show 108.9. So out of Atlanta. And right now, since the COVID and everything, brother Malik Ishmael is the host of that show. Malik Ishmael.
Is that available via the web, or is it strictly radio?
Oh no, it's on the web too.
Okay. Do you have an address or a title that we could Google or?
Oh yes. It's the Vanguard Show. You can just type in Vanguard Show on YouTube.
Okay. So Vanguard Show, YouTube.
YouTube.
Okay.
And it'll come right up.
Okay.
And that's brother Malik Ishmael, and we've interviewed a lot of great people,
Okay.
a lot of great people on there. So, and you would definitely enjoy that show. So I'm doing that as well. And other than that, we did a forum down in Atlanta with the photo exhibit, and pretty much brother Kato Cooks. I don't know if you ever heard of him. He flew out. Okay, he's a original Panther too, from the Southern California chapter.
Okay.
He flew out to the forum that we had down there in Atlanta, and also I met a sister came named Gloria Swanson. She was the secretary of John Henry Clark.
Okay.
She came, and it was an honor to meet her. And brother Malik Ishmael was there, and it was a big turnout. And the exhibit was there. The exhibit was there for it was supposed to just be there for 2 weeks, but it ended up being there for over a month by popular demand, because the brother had contacted me and brother Malik and said, brother, can we leave the exhibit, because people are coming here doing bus tours from schools and things, and to look at this exhibit.
Nice.
So yeah. So and we know education is the key. So
Yeah,
and if people can see the programs that the Panthers had, you know what I'm saying? These are the programs that's going to continue our existence from here on out. You know what I'm saying? And so I definitely feel that and if we could get more people and a lot more people involved down here with the programs, hey, liberation is on its way. That's for sure.
No doubt.
You know, so
Well, Go ahead.
And that's pretty much what it is, you know, just about educating the people. And because not everybody, I mean, you know what I'm saying, everybody can do something, you know.
No,
so
absolutely.
Yes, that's right. So and for the youth to see it, because they are the future. Well, we're the future too, because without us, they don't have one. But still, you know what I'm saying, the leadership is all there in their face, you know what I'm saying? And just a good curator and whoever they need to talk to, just give them the information, just like I was given, you was given, and we all, and just move on it, you know? Yeah. And the key though, I tell people is, in order to be a Black Panther, you got to love your people, you know? No. And if you don't love your people, then you're in the wrong organization.
I think it was Mr. Farrakhan said at one point, I heard him say that we have to love our people more than our people hate themselves. Yes. You know? And that always kind of stuck with me.
Yes. Sir.
See, I'm see if we can get a link to the Vanguard show and put it down in the sec. I don't know how all of that works. That's Sykes' job, but I'm gonna get the link and get it over to him, see if we can't get that plugged in there. But it's funny you talking about the photography and whatnot. I watched I don't know if you've ever heard of Dr. Greg Carr, the Karen Hunter show. Greg Carr he's a professor, was an attorney, but they have this whole education. They have a presence on YouTube. They also have the narrative, and I forget the other platform that it's on, but it's basically a big revolutionary institution that they're doing online, teaching revolutionary ideas, concepts, and all of that over a course of history. This brother here knows everything. When I tell you this cat knows everything, this cat knows everything. But I was listening to one of his shows on Friday, and he was talking about technology in terms of the movement, and the technology he was talking about was actually the photography from back in the day, and the image that we use, how the image of the Huey and them's Panther came from Lowndes County, and how that image of the Panther was actually a mascot from a college in a local college in the area, and how that was transformed and went on to transform other people's minds and whatnot with the use and connection with the Black Panther Party, and how that is. Oh, what was you gonna say?
No, I wasn't gonna go ahead. I wasn't.
And how that ties into using technology to inform subsequent generations as one of the ways to address, because I know you was there back then, you here now, we is all here now. There's a disconnect between our generation of what we were doing and Huey and them's generation. And now it's kind of come full circle almost, because now we're in Huey and Bobby and them's position of having put in all of this work, and it's our responsibility to mold the minds of the next generation. And I know, you've already kind of touched on it with the pictures being so instrumental in teaching, especially the children. When you hear Black Panther, it's not what you see in the movie. It's not what you see on the news. It's not or if you see it in the news or, all of that. Here are the pictures. This is what we actually did. Yes, there were guns, but that was a little bitty part over here. This is what we did on a day-to-day basis, in and out. That free lunch that you might have gotten in your school, that was because of us. That was because of Bobby and them.
Right.
We did that. Yes. So I'm just wondering, with you having, with the photography and other things that you've got going on, what do you see as some of the, the causes and effects between generation to generation with reinventing? Because you look out, and I know you see the same things as we do, and as an old cat, as a G, an OG in this, we've seen pretty much everything that has been put out there right now. Everything that everybody's doing, we've seen it done before. The protests, we've seen them done before, and we know how that plays out. We know what is coming. So in regards to reaching another generation, what are some of the disconnects? How do you overcome the disconnects in as far as trying to get across to a generation that we know that you're compelled to do something, and what you see is people going out doing the same thing, but now maybe we need to try a different thing? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Trying to shape that, come up with a different strategy because what you're doing ain't working, type of thing. I mean, how do you jump across that?
Well, that's a good point. Good question too. I'll start by this. Okay. A platform without program is a symbol without substance. Okay. You got to have a relationship with the community. Okay. And see, it's not about being about what you say or having the attention, having the limelight, the media, because see, the media, I've seen, and just honest, I've seen a member, the media, they're just all in the media. And people got to be careful, because when you're all in the media, with the media, they can dress you up like a chicken and serve you up. You know what I'm saying? And you gotta understand it's the CIA too. A lot of them are, you know. So as we see what happened to Mount, get read, yeah. So you know, it's not about talking and being known, and you're that's not being that's not serving the people. You know what I'm saying? So that's not forming a relationship with the people. You're not in touch with the people. You're not out there talking to them, seeing what the issues are, seeing what needs to be done. Then that way, that's what helps you put together the programs. You know what I'm saying? The solutions to whatever needs to be done in the community. So and so the young generation, they need to understand that. We know, and even though we're the ones who's carrying the torch, but we're not going to just pass the torch to you, because I don't feel they have the leadership. I don't see it. Not the young generation. I don't see it. I mean, they formed Black Lives Matter, and you know what? That's I agree with Black Lives, the word. You know what I'm saying? The statement, but brother, who's actually, after I seen who's really running Black Lives Matter and funding Black Lives Matter, no. See what I'm saying? So, and then again, and what that is see, it's the media. See, because we understand TV is mind control. That was the whole purpose of them giving the American people the TV. Is weapon of mass deception. That's what it is. They even, you know, people get caught up on them, you know, movies, a lot of times the fight scenes. They don't understand. They done rehearsed them fight scenes hundreds of times. Them ain't, you know, all that, whatever it is, you know what I'm saying? It's still mind control. Because even when it comes to entertainment and all that, see, the youth has always been looked up to entertainers. See, that's who done took over the leadership now, as we know, see? So they done made them, the youth is following the wrong people. You know what I'm saying? And so the leadership's not there. So, and you know, then a lot of them, I hear some of them say, you know, they think that we done failed them. You know, our generation, not the Black Panthers, but it's the generation have pretty much failed them. And in a way, I guess they're right, you know, in some instances, things is worse now than they were, you know, when we were coming up, even though they were still bad, you know, but things has from what I see, have gotten even worse. You know, I've never known it to be this bad since I've been living.
In terms of what? You said it's worse, it's gotten bad in terms of what? In leadership?
No, as far as the poverty, the survival of our people. Okay. You know what I'm saying? I mean, because you know, we had good leadership out there, and they still are, not to say it's not. And a lot of real leaders, that you don't even see them on TV. So a lot of them are, you know, just in the community doing the work, you know, and that's real leadership. So instead of trying to be in front of the cameras, you know, because I've never wanted to be in front of the cameras. Yeah, I've always worked in the background, you know, because I work better that way, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So that's me. But and I just pretty much got in where I could, you know, because like I said, I worked, like a brother came up to me, I never will forget, at the Black Panther reunion they had in DC. And this brother came up to me because, you know, they had known about all the other different chapters. The brother asked me, well, who are you with, brother? What are you? You know, I said, I'm a Black Panther, brother. You know, I'm just about serving the people, you know what I'm saying? And doing what needs to be done, you know what I'm saying? To uplift our people, you know what I'm saying? That's pretty much it, bro, you know?
And see, I think you and I, with a lot of these things, these questions and whatnot, or these ideas, have some real similarity. You know, if I could just get you to move to Florida, you know, we probably done. But anyway, that's over there. But you keep mentioning, you know, working in the community and doing things to serve the people. And for me, that was always kind of my definition of self-determination. It's like the community has to do things to make a decision, take their life in their own hands, you know, to get down and grow their own food, dig in the dirt, be their own stop sign, whatever it is. And I'm wondering, and if I'm wrong, you know, please tell me your definition of self-determination. And it's kind of a loaded question here. So your definition of self-determination, your ideas on what it is. And this is the loaded part, because if you knew it, we probably all be free right now. How do you get the community to embrace that idea? You know, whatever your definition is, how do you get folks to buy into that? You know, like if you're running for president, Trump and them or Biden or whoever has to get enough, supposedly, in a popular vote, folks to buy in to the platform and basically the bullshit that they're selling. How do we get folks to buy into your definition, our definition of what self-determination is? Again, it's loaded. I can see the angst, because I feel the same way when somebody asks me. It's like, oh crap, I don't know, you know. But yeah.
Well, I can only really speak by what I've done, my experience. You know, I'll just say that and go by that. How I pretty much got off into a lot of reading, you know, for one, because this is why the Panthers made it clear, in order to be a Black Panther, you had to know so much.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? About being a revolutionary and about serving the people, you know what I'm saying? And leadership. So I would start right there, you know, and I feel that this is really what should be done, should have been in place for a long time ago, for all the chapters. The same thing that the Panthers did. They didn't just let you be a Panther, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, God damn it.
Yeah, you couldn't just come up in here, whether you from, we don't care if you're from the nation or from whoever, you know what I'm saying? You ain't coming up in the Panthers unless you educated, bro. Period.
And where's War? Put War back over here so you can say that. Yes, go ahead, bro. I didn't mean to cut you, my bad.
What you say? You need to hear that up.
You need to hear that.
Yeah. So
you too. But yeah, please go ahead, brother. Please.
So yeah, and so this is what motivated me, you know, and with that helps you become more determined. You know what I'm saying? Because you're informed. You know what I'm saying? And you know what you got to do. You know what I'm saying? So that's what needs to be done first of all, and that's crucial. See, that's very crucial. Then someone coming in that don't know. See, a lot of and just to make a real good point about what I'm saying, I have to go back to college, because there was one time I went to, he had Aaron's banquet. He had put that together in New York. And me and Colin was talking, and he was asking me about Brother Malik. And Brother Malik is well informed, okay? So, and you know, he's worked with the original Panthers, and he's from our generation. But, and come to find out, him and Brother Malik had told me that Khaled did talk to him and felt that maybe we can work together some kind of way, you know. So I think if brothers that are coming in, you know, that are informed more about the Panthers, and not letting their ego get in the way, of course, because we know that plays a part too, or their pride, and you know, and if that doesn't get in the way, sometimes I feel that in a way I do feel that Brother Khaled would have eventually seen what you know what I'm saying, what the Black Panther is all about. Being a Black Panther is really all about, as far as the programs, and more focus there. You know what I'm saying? So, but again, back to what I was saying though. So anyway, with that information, still, you being armed with the knowledge, that alone helps with the determination. And also reading a lot of books and stuff about revolutionary books, you know, and about Black history and things, that helps you have more love for your people, and you understand more about our people. You know what I'm saying? Because we the greatest on the planet.
No doubt.
What we've done, you know, but see, a lot of us, you can just tell a person that they like, oh, well, but see, they have to read and know, you know what I'm saying? Because with that knowledge, something builds up in you, you know what I'm saying? A love, you know what I'm saying? And that's how it changes you consciously, you know what I'm saying? Your consciousness is more awakened. That's what I was experiencing. My consciousness was awake, and I evolved, you know, I just evolved to a whole different person, you know what I'm saying? And that's pretty much what it is, that's what it's going to take, you know what I'm saying? You know, and just being more than just, okay, reading is good, but understanding what you're reading and discussing it, study groups and things like that, workshops, you know, doing that, and people explaining their ideas, you know, you trying to, you know, telling you what they understand about what they've read and you know what I'm saying? And you telling them what you've read and understand. And that's, I think that's what it is, the solution to that. Because if they're not informed, you know what I'm saying? They ain't gonna fit the program of what the structure of what needs to be done.
And I guess I'm kind of, because I was kind of playing around with asking you some of the rabbits, you kind of fed into it. You know, I've heard even from I've heard that the Panthers are dead, that the Black Panther Party is over. It's, you know, and this was from, you know, membership. This is from members who said, you know, Black Panthers at this point, at least in terms of, I guess, the image of the Black Panthers, there's a clownish image, especially with YouTube and things that people can do with it and make it look this way or that way. But yeah, it's been said that basically the Black Panther Party is dead. So I'm wondering, do you have any thoughts in as far as, you know, yes or no, maybe to a degree, what is the legacy of the Black Panther Party, as well as especially those of us who, because, you know, between the three of us, the Panther 48, War is the most active out in the community. And like any good chairman, he's working his ass off to get himself out of chairmanship, you know, to get the next generation in a position where he ain't got to do this no more. And he can, you know, be a regular guy, consulting, studying, you know, that sort of thing, which is kind of where Psych and I are as far as, you know, activity and whatnot. So I'm wondering, you know, especially with that type of thought floating around, even like I said, even within membership, that the party is over, the party is dead. What is the legacy for those of us who are, at the very least, you know, got a room full of books that tells some of our story, part of our story, whatever, you know, got old flyers that we made back in the day, stuck away in a binder, got our berets sitting in the back room. And, you know, I got mine sealed up in plastic because I don't want it to, you know, I don't want it to deteriorate. That's I hated the damn beret. I hated wearing it. They'll tell you, I hated wearing that damn beret, but it's my beret. So I'm wondering, what is our role in, oh, here you go. What is our role in affecting the legacy and carrying that forward? And I'm down with the education, absolutely, 100%. They'll tell you that's all I've known for years now as far as the struggle. What is our legacy as far as carrying, helping to carrying, you know, that sort of thing on into the future?
I would say this, as far as like when people say, you said people say the Black Panthers Party is dead. Okay. Well, I'll say this: what the Panthers did back in the '60s, and how they were able to recruit the kind of membership they did, you know, and everything, and the type of work they did, that was that was relevant to their time, you know, after the, you know, this brother said, I remember I heard this brother asking this other brother. I couldn't answer it. It was like on a video, but he kept asking another brother who was in the Black Panthers. He kept asking, they was kind of arguing, going at it. And this brother was some other people asking him, well, how did the Black Panther Party fail? He kept asking the brother. And the brother, interesting enough, he was a Black Panther, you know, of the '60s, but he never answered it. I don't know why. When all he had to say was, it was the COINTELPRO that's why the Black Panthers failed. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So, and he could have just recommended the books to get him, you know, Agents of Depression, you know, War Churchill, that book. So other Panther books too, as well, that are out here, you know what I'm saying? So, but that's how the Black Panther Party failed. And then I heard somebody on a radio show talking about, well, the Black Panthers, man, were, you know, just saying a lot of negative stuff, you know. So as far as that leadership of the Black Panther Party, yeah, that is dead. As far as the legacy of the Black Panther Party, that is not dead at all. Not at all, for the fact that you and I are living proof.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying? And as long as brothers like you and me around, and the other comrades, nah, brother, the Black Panther Party ain't dead at all. Nowhere close. You know what I'm saying? And with this, and this is the whole purpose of y'all show, and y'all putting out information, and again, informing the people. So even though we know the type of enemy we up against, but still, that's war. You know what I'm saying? That's what it is. So again, it's about waking up the people, because see, a lot of the programs, as we know, that are out here now, it was the Black Panthers that started it. You know, a lot of these programs. So hey, nah, you know, it's not dead at all, comrade. Not at all. As long as the Panthers are here and walking this planet, nah, brother. Not even close. Now we got groups out here that putting on a uniform saying they Panthers, but ain't doing the work. So, you know,
Yes,
so
sir. Yeah, we do.
know,
Yeah, we
so
do.
Right. So I'll say this: if you're not serving the people, then you are a hair and nail shop revolutionary. So pretty much. You know what I'm saying? And that's real. That's real.
Yeah, no doubt.
You know what I'm saying? You know,
it can't be refuted, you know. And I was you almost went one direction, but you turned and went another direction. I was gonna ask you, because I know, you know, we've been on here a minute, and we don't want to monopolize all your time. You know, we can chat it up for a few minutes afterwards if you like. But I really wanted to get some. We always try to lead to wrap up the show with some positive energy, with some positive words and thoughts from whoever it is, you know, whatever state, where, you know, to if for no other reason, to just show that energy, that drive, that, you know, that pat on the back, we're still in it with you type of thing, is still out there. So you know, to kind of wrap the show up and put a bow on it and whatnot, could you give me some words, brother Kamau? And I'm gonna tell you, I don't remember you from back in the day. I don't. I'm sorry. I'm not good with all that.
That's okay.
Like I said, it's foggy, and I was in my own headspace anyway. You know, I was concentrating on what, you know, I got to get this done. So other than Khaled and Aaron, I don't remember too many people. But if you came down to Dallas and did some work and whatnot around in the later 90s, I was there. But I would really like it if you could kick out just some parting thoughts, something to leave the viewers on a high note, what you would like for them to take from the things that you've said, the examples you've given, just anything that you want to leave on the hearts and the minds of the folks that are viewing this.
Well, I'll say this, you know, we as a people will win this battle, and we are up against an enemy that's unknown, of course. But I'll say this, as Black people, you know what I'm saying? We will survive. And what we got to do is we got to stay positive, you know, and determined, you know what I mean? I would say join a organization. It doesn't have to be the Black Panthers if they're not comfortable, but join a Black organization and get involved, whatever it is. If it's the NAACP, you know what I'm saying? You could go into that and make that work for you. You know what I mean? And so like Robert Williams who formed the Black Guard down in North Carolina back in the 50s. I don't know if you ever heard of him.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
We got Robert Williams Jr. sitting right up here.
There you go. And he reminds me of Robert Williams too, of the Black Guard. Okay.
Somebody think of Robert Williams of the Black Guard.
The Black Guard, yeah.
You gotta keep that beret on.
Yeah.
Right.
But I would say join a Black organization. You know what I'm saying? That and definitely read more and become more educated and get more involved, of course, and just love your people. You know, and be nice to your people and everyone, you know, because it's the energy as well. If you're not having a good day, you know what I'm saying, that's going to reflect when you see someone and talk to someone, you know what I'm saying, and inform someone. So try to have clear thoughts, clear your conscience, get close to your God, what some known as Allah or Most High. Get closer to the ancestors too, because we in a spiritual war as well as a physical here on earth, you know. But this here isn't all end all and be all, but we gonna move on. See, at a certain point, brothers like you and me, see, and those who are here now, we're going to move on, but we want to leave the legacy here for those who are willing to carry it out while they're here for the liberation of our people, so that one day we all will be liberated. So the solution has been put down, you know, that we talked about. So if somebody review this, there it is, you know what I'm saying, the programs and everything like that. So and just get involved, you know, join an organization that's uplifting our people or helping our people, serving our people some kind of way. You know what I'm saying? Not tearing down our people and anything like that. Don't get involved with nothing like that. That's not gonna help our people. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to be with any, if it ain't doing nothing for Black people, don't get with it. You know what I'm saying? If they ain't talking about the only politics that's relevant today is the politics of revolution. You know what I mean? Okay, so if they ain't talking that, I say don't get with it. You know what I'm saying? So
Ashe, ashe.
Ashe. Yes, sir.
Beautiful. I dig that. I like that. It's a very nice way to end a show, especially in Black August, you know, with this month being what it is. with the
Yes.
economic aspect, with the, you know, the brothers, the Soledad brothers and everything that went on there. But that's pretty much it for my part of it. I don't know, Syke, if you're gonna do your usual wrap up, because you know you the I guess the official MC of the channel and whatnot. But
No,
as for
it's
me,
good. Actually, I'm gonna use that as my intro.
Brother E, wrapping it,
Pointed this
signing
year.
out for himself, reminding
Oh.
you, African people, sit down, shut the fuck up.
Yes, sir. Ashe. All
Yeah,
power
I
to the
got-
people.
I got one thing I want to say real quick, just in going
course you
back
do.
to what we talked about with the foundation. I think a lot of times, and this is basic for the new generation that are coming behind us. Too often, I think when people look at foundation, they think about building up, as opposed to the fact that as above, so below. So I do want to say this: when you talk about a foundation, this being your foundation, your baseline, it works that way. You build up and down at the same time. That's where legacy comes from. So legacy comes from by dealing with learning your history, learning the significance, learning your markers, and dealing with the things that came before you. And then you also work your way up as you building down. And so in doing so, you never separate from that which was behind you and that which would lead you to be able to recognize how the future needs to be laid out. So foundations are built up and down, as below, so above. So remember that those coming behind us is that you always have to respect and build upon your foundation as it applies to both ways. And I just want to end on that note. All power to the people.